democratic government for you all to decide what your role is, word it, and then implement it for your own benefit. I think that what has come through in the audience is that the citizens want to be a part of that committee. And if you all, it's okay for you all to be on the committee, but it's not okay for you all to be the committee. Someone says, I think it was Councilman Jones that said it was a problem because Easy was on it and he was on 4B. Well, if it's a problem for Easy to be on it and he's on 4B, why ain't it a problem for all y'all to be on it and y'all on city council?
No,
I don't understand that.
It was specifics that the attorney had said, and don't quote me. It was specifics that the attorney had said that certain people that was a part of the committee, and Miss Williams was right next to me. She scratched out the people. It only wound up being 3 people that the mayor had suggested that could sit on the committee. I think one was like Miss Carter and 2 other citizens. It was a board.
Well, Councilman Jones, what you said was that the attorney said that it was a problem for Easy to be on it because he was on 4B. And my point is, if that's a problem, then why ain't it a problem that all of the city councilmen are on it?
We're not on it.
And second of all, and my final point is this. I think that the major thing that I have a problem with and other citizens have a problem with is the disregard of some of the city councilmen for the things that the community has given you today that are important to us. I appreciate Councilman Wallace for being the first one to acknowledge that we were saying something, to hear us. And if you're not hearing us in just a basic meeting, how can we trust you to hear us to amend our city charter? What you do is what you're doing right now. And it's very important that you all rethink how you want to do this. First of all, there hasn't been a need established for a review of the city charter. Second of all, there's a major problem with you all appointing yourselves as the governing body over that. And third of all, we don't even know. Well, I just go back. What is the need? I like why are we doing this? Just to be doing this?
Yeah, Ms. Webster had her hand up, then Mr. Deal.
I think I forgot what I wanted to say.
I'm sorry,
I
Ms.
just wanted
Webster.
to, I was sitting here thinking, if I heard you correctly, that you'll go along with what the council saying if they give you 2 names of who they want on the committee. And I would like to add to that, if they give you some names, make sure they are taxpayers and not someone say they live in the city and they don't.
That's right.
We are spending our money, when I say we as taxpayer citizens, spending our money and we know what we want. So if you give names, we don't want anybody from that campus as a student. We want taxpayer citizens of Prairie View who lives in Prairie View and not you say you live in Prairie View and you know you don't.
I'll try to be brief. One, as a citizen, I'm okay if we want to review the charter. But I sure would like a process defined so that we can work within the process. I think that's critical as city leaders to create a good process. The other thing I would like is if you would kindly be education specific with regard to the charter. And why might it not be fit for growth in the next 5 years? And the only person that I can kind of get some of that from is really probably the city attorney. I think that education has got to come from a legal mind. And not that I'm biased, but that whole document is really our city constitution. And if you compare it to Texas and the U.S. constitutions, we don't go around amending those documents very often. So we should do it with care.
State
constitution. Wait, I didn't interrupt you. I didn't interrupt you. Okay. The other thing I do, I would like to say is, if there are amendments proposed, then why do we have to do that? As opposed to simply using the process of updating ordinances. So I don't want us to form a committee, which is the tendency. You form a committee to look at the charter for amendments, and you create a psychology of people thinking they have to amend something. I want a clear answer from an informed expert to tell us, you may not need to. And it's okay, because we have the remedy at the city level of simply updating ordinances. I want someone to tell us that it's okay.
Councilman, you were next.
I mean, I appreciate everyone's input. Again, I'm glad that I put the agenda item and three other city councilmen agreed that this is a conversation we need to have, so continue their input, thank you.
Let me, you can talk, I can speak after you.
Well, I still want to go back to the, I guess it's the last council meeting, one of the last council meetings. And it has to do with item 8. And it said discussion and consider Mayor Allen's appointment to the city charter commission appointments. My question is, and I think someone said about it in terms of what's the qualification, not so much as to who the person is, but what are the qualifications? I mean, I think that should have something to do when you're talking about something as important as a charter. I hear a lot of legal stuff from Attorney Cedillo. I would ask, why are you not on the committee? I mean, and I'm looking at not necessarily looking at the name, but I'm saying what qualifies you to put this committee together? And I would like to hear it. I mean, it's okay because they're citizens. I guess all of them are citizens. But
Yeah,
I mean, my point is, if I never came to a city council meeting, I wouldn't want you to put my name on it.
The city attorney.
I didn't ask you this. I'm talking to the mayor, man.
Okay, let me answer this question. You know how many committees and boards and commissions we have in the city?
I don't
Okay,
know.
let's just say a bunch. And trying to man them all with volunteers is and has been extremely difficult. Our Board of Adjustments, we have not had a Board of Adjustment meeting in 5-6 years that I know of. So we're trying to put one together, and we're trying to put engineers and firemen and that kind of thing on the committee. So when you look at the names on the committee,
This committee.
that
I'm
committee,
referring, I mean,
those are people who agreed to serve, just like you did before on the Economic Development Corporation. They agreed to volunteer and serve. All of our committees, boards, commissions are volunteers. So in some respects, you get who you can that can help with whatever it is you're doing. Those are all folks who live in the city and they have something to add to, and that's why their names are on there, as with every other. Now, one thing I want to close with, if you read the charter, it's my job and duty to make appointments. Now, who I make is for my reason, the board, what it is, and their willingness to serve or what they bring to it. It has nothing to do with anyone else. Now, what council did is council's right. They totally invalidated the list, and that's their right. But don't try to take away my right to do it, because that's not gonna stop.
I asked a question.
Yeah.
I asked a simple question.
And I answered it.
And you didn't, I didn't get the answer I wanted to hear.
Well,
But
no,
I said,
you
what-
probably never will.
I never will from you. But the
Right.
point I'm making for you right now is, when you know that there are qualified people that could really take this to another level of what we're talking about, I think we would not even be having this meeting.
Well, I didn't call the meeting, so I have nothing to do with
What I'm
that.
saying, we wouldn't have had the meeting, that's what I'm saying. Had you put this together like what I'm talking about.
Mr. Mayor.
Council had invalidated the whole
They
board,
did.
so what are you
I
talking
understand
about?
that. I
Councilman
understand why.
Wallace.
Mayor, I would like to know, who are those persons, the hierarchy are those persons who could have served on the committee had it not been voted against? Who does Mr. Leverett have in mind?
I'll tell you,
Wait,
I'm saying anybody, Mr. Brown, you I'm
No,
talking
no,
about, I'm
no,
talking
not,
about
not
somebody.
at my age. Cause
Why
I
not?
want all of you go to hell and go by my business.
Okay, so he doesn't have, he's answered that question. Go ahead. Go ahead, speak.
Okay, so, yeah, so I wanted to, we're veering on 2 hours with the workshop. I kind of wanted to piggyback off Mr. Dio in terms of making sure we have a defined process. Councilman Rowland has suggested July 22nd, and August 10th. I'm good on those dates. And I was, yeah, so, and I want, and so the next meeting, what I hope we can do is try to have a defined process for y'all, so y'all can have input on that process, and so we can continue to move forward, because this is gonna be, there's longevity to this. So it's not by tomorrow. So having that said, I move that we have a city charter, let me make sure I use it. We move to have a city charter workshop on July 22nd at 5 p.m. and August 10th, did we say a time?
Can we add to that?
5 p.m.
At 5.
Saturday.
It's Saturday.
August 10th is that Saturday. So like what?
I could do one.
Can we add to
And
that
August,
city charter discussion?
and August 10th at 11 a.m. We said, because he said so that people that may not be able to make like regular meetings.
Right, that's what we was trying to rush. I said we do it at 5 o'clock for every council meeting.
Well, and the thing was, and correct me if my ideology was wrong, the reason why you said weekend was because it gives the people opportunity that may not be able to make that
That's correct.
Monday at 5
But
o'clock.
the goal was, but the goal was to give them in advance. So what we were trying to do was get 2 or 3 dates to advance to put out there, so people can then put their schedule to it. If we only gonna agree on the 22nd of July at 5, the reason why that this is the only Monday is we have like the USW contract one day we gotta look at. We can't use every meeting at 5 to talk about this.
So,
But the
July
22nd,
22nd meeting to identify the process, and not the process we will.
Okay, that particular motion dies for lack of a second. Can we get another motion? It was never seconded. There was a lot of discussion and no second. No, everybody spoke and there was not a, go ahead, put whatever motion on so we can.
So before I make this motion, because at the end of the day, we all had to come to an agreement. Do y'all want to just, on July 22nd, have, at 5, have the meeting, talk about the defined process, and then set the date from there?
Yes.
Alright, so I move that we have a city charter meeting on July 22nd at 5 p.m.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that council have a meeting on the charter workshop. Okay, on July 22nd at 5 p.m. You've heard the motion, ready for the unreadness. Go ahead, sir.
I think a big part of what the citizens said today, or what are the specifics in which we're gonna talk about that meeting, because the way that it's stated, we'll just
Okay.
talk about the same.
So discuss and take action on the, what we said earlier.
Well, it's
Process.
defined
Yeah,
issues.
on the defined process that we will use for the city charter.
So what is that?
but
So,
you didn't put what you're gonna look at. You didn't Article 1, 3, 4. You didn't
so
say.
what I'm talking, so on, this is what I'm saying, so I'm saying at that meeting, we say, okay, we're gonna set a charter meeting on, let's say, hypothetically, August 10th, or I'm just saying, hypothetical day, August 10th, and we're gonna talk about Article 1 and 2, and if they agree with that, then okay, if not, then we'll amend that, because I think what, if I'm, and correct me if I'm saying this wrong, is that y'all want something in writing that y'all can be like, okay, this is what I like and this is what I don't like. But because y'all come in here unprepared and y'all kind of just we're on the go, then it's like, so what's happening? At least if we have something written down. If y'all don't like it, y'all can literally say specifically, we don't like this, so let's change it to that, so we have something.
But Councilman Wallace, y'all are overlooking the whole point. The whole starting point is, over and over and over again, is there a definite need to review a city charter? Before you can go anywhere, you need to establish that.
I'm saying that would be part of the defined process, to talk about all the different things, so, like I said,
But that's another meeting.
Hey,
like
Just
tonight.
have the meeting and make the motion for the same thing on the agenda item, which gives us the leeway for the 22nd at 5 o'clock.
Y'all say get specific.
Well, the motion's on the floor.
The motion
Is there a
already-
call for the question?
Call for the question.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed have the same right. Let the record show it's unanimous. Okay, is there another motion?
Yes.
John.
I move that we also, under that subsequent process, just put the same agenda item, discuss and consider possible amendments to the Prairie City Charter.
Add what? Amendment.
He got ulterior motive. He got something.
Same agenda item that the attorney told us when we're talking about this, put on there, I didn't make
He
this up.
got a different agenda.
Move to adjourn?
Second.
Did it die or what, were we not in a